Welcome, everybody. I'm really happy to be here at my second fest after Prague last year, and now able to speak up on stage. So my name's Liam Keating. I'm a designer from the UK, and now I actually live here in Sweden, in Gothenburg. And I have a huge passion for machines and diggers and technical things, sci-fi and machinery. And over the past 15 years, I've been lucky to work with many people across a lot of industries. I started in advertising and branding. I've worked in publishing, fashion, retail. And now, for almost the last 10 years, I've been working in automotive. And the last 4 of those with a company called Rapid. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So Rapid, we're not just a CGI company. We have quite a big and varied team. And what we do blends the best of creativity, technology, strategy. We're around 100 people. And one of the really cool things about working there is it's about 50% artists and 50% developers and tech. So what we do is not only do we make content, but we also create end-to-end solutions for different types of clients. And just before we go into automotive, here's a quick example of a non-automotive Unreal project. So working with a company called Gottenhus to build a full house builder. And you can put together sort of the kit house of your dreams. And when you get to the end, you can actually order that kit and they'll deliver it. And even with this alone, it is billions of different combinations. So using Unreal to do these types of things, it just wasn't really possible with layered images a few years ago. And here's just a short reel of some of the different things we've done recently, the majority in Unreal Engine. We do a lot of digital twin work when it comes to retail, construction, and entertainment. So I can't really see anything, but how many people in this room are kind of familiar with the automotive space? Okay, quite a few. You guys are not allowed to ask any questions at the end. So Rapid has a lot of knowledge when it comes to automotive CGI. They've been working for about 20 years now with some of the biggest names in Sweden and beyond. And the team really excels in creating really accurate digital twins, suitable for any purpose, all the way from AR to VR to motion picture and film. And I'm really amazed at the work that they can get out of it. And here's just a snapshot of the quality that we have with our layered image system. And this is from the current Volvo configurator. And as we know, a digital twin is more than just the sum of the different parts. Not only do we create all the meshes and surfaces for our clients, but we also do a lot of things by hand, especially soft parts and stitching, textures. And bringing all those things together really makes the digital twin shine. As you can see, it's a really fantastic alternative for photography when you have the right ingredients. And things were kind of like this for many years. We would use layered imagery technology would improve a bit, things would get slightly faster. But as the products have changed and our customers' needs, we've had to really adapt with the technology. So as vehicles have gotten more complex and sophisticated, the way that they're sold and what they contain has also rapidly changed. So it's really important now with our customers that we have a very complex and fluid digital twin, because it's not just the vehicle that you buy anymore, it's the 10,000 extra things that can go in or out. And that's just as important usually to them as just the base vehicle itself. And here's an example of just some of the extras you can have on a Volvo car, and there's a lot more than this. And images have also become, more a thing of the past. The expectation now is that everything should at least be able to be animated. And as the technology has improved for us in the CGI space, it has done so for our clients in automotive. Automated driving aids, safety features, sensors, cameras, LiDARs, all these things are quite commonplace in modern vehicles. And explaining them to our clients' customers is a big challenge. And it's got to the point where the sheer amount of content we need to produce for each vehicle, it can become quite overwhelming. Now, as with any CGI project, there's always a trade-off with quality versus time. But where we got to with layered imagery is just one car in a configurator, for example, can contain 7,000 images together. And that's just for the configurator view. You add on all the extra collateral, and you can easily be upwards of 10,000 pieces of content. So before I moved to Rapid, I worked at Volvo Trucks Design for around 5 years. So it was only fitting that one of the first things I got to do when I moved was to help my old friends and colleagues. And we had the digital twin of the trucks back then. So we got to work really seeing what we could take to the next level. And we already, we wanted to really demonstrate to them that having the vehicle in real time, we could show all of the functions and systems that is really hard to get across in just static images. But this is the early days, as you can see. We're still using Unreal 4 point something here. And although it's running well, it's still left a lot to be desired on the quality side, at least compared to the offline renders we were doing at the same time. But it was pretty clear then, back 4 years ago, that this would only keep improving and it would be the future. So we carried on working with them and other customers and started working on use cases and different things. And we spoke to Epic around this time. I think it was very early 2022. And said that we have really great interest from our customers, but they're just not really sold on the quality. We can't really get through to them with this computer game edge. And then they pushed us towards the new Unreal Engine 5 that would be coming out later. And we got an advanced version from the team that helped us get a semi-stable version. A few painful days, but great help. And one of the first things we did was work with Polestar. So they really wanted to move towards a real-time solution, but they hadn't seen that quality before. And in a very short amount of time, we managed to take their full digital twin and make a fully functional configurator in just a matter of weeks. And this is the full CAD vehicle running in real time on a single machine. We also got it into VR. And on top of this, we could make path-traced marketing images up to 15K if the computer would hold on. It would half the time. And we could make 4K animations almost as fast as we could put the cameras together. And this was a great tool. And I think this was the moment then we realized things were only going to improve even more. And we had that running on an iPad, on desktop. We could stream it in the cloud straight to the Polestar team. It really was a big turning point for us. And yeah, we imagined that we could get almost to the same parity of offline rendering. And here's an example of just some of the content we could make for them, even just within one day. But back to trucks. So we applied our knowledge that we'd gotten from the Polestar demo with a renewed goal to now let's make something happen. Our team are already experts with offline rendering, and it was really easy for them to just get stuck into Unreal for almost immediate results. And a bit later that year, we got a request from Volvo Trucks North America. So they were going to build for the first time, I think in over a decade, a brand new truck platform designed in the USA, built in the USA. And they were going to go big with the configurator and the marketing. And given what we'd learned in the months before, we figured it was time to put our money where our mouth was and push Unreal. The original ask was just for layered imagery and the standard type of work. But we gave them a lot of demos, showed them what we'd been able to do with Polestar, and said, we think all the pieces of the puzzle are finally here, and we could probably take your digital twin fully into Unreal, and far beyond the configurator. And that meant that we would be able to cover everything from education, so it was a new platform. It was important for them that they're going to have to train new dealerships, new mechanics, because it's a new powertrain. They're going to need high-end CGI, because they can't take the truck everywhere to shoot. Features, animations to explain all of the different technology, how it works. Virtual production when it comes to the launch, and also more marketing material. Then, of course, the render-on-demand configurator, but also that we would digitize locations for them in Unreal. And so we embarked on the journey together to build just that. And cars are complicated machines, as many of us know working on them. But working with heavy duty just takes it to the next level. Each of these trucks are like more expensive than a Ferrari. And the amount of components that you can change out is, very high. Everything from the aerodynamics, the chassis sizes, there are thousands and thousands of combinations. For this one truck alone, we have 7,000 configuration options in the front end on the Volvo website. And that results in images in the tens of millions that can be created. And when we look at the European trucks later, they have combinations into the billions. And that just wouldn't be possible with how we were working 6-7 years ago. So one of the beauties of working with a client with a digital twin on this level is that you get the data for the vehicle before it's usually finished. And working so quick in Unreal we are feeding back to that team and showing them what it's going to look like. And we can also help with pre-reveal marketing, building the hype, doing photo reel shoots, yeah, straight out of Unreal. And as I said a few slides before, it's not just the vehicles we make digital twins of. It's very important for us that CGI has its place, but it has to live side by side with photography and film. And we don't try and replace real life with CGI. We work very hard to just complement it. But photo shoots are expensive, especially when you have to fly out, a whole team and massive trucks into the desert. And if we can make a digital twin of the environment, it gives us the flexibility later to go back, maybe add new vehicles, swap things in. And so for this project, we went out to Death Valley in Nevada. And I'm from Liverpool in England. I'd never been to a desert before, and I thought they were really hot. So I turned up on the first day in shorts and t-shirts, and I learned, my lesson. They're very cold. But we have a very fantastic team that's skilled in HDRI production, photography, scanning, and we went out, picked this location from the set list. And all along, the plan was just for Unreal, even 6 months before working with the team. And we explained to them that we could basically get there before the sun comes up, and we can take HDRI captures for before sunrise to midday, and then we can make an environment in Unreal that will match anything that they do on a photo shoot. So if they shoot there at 11 a.m. or 4 p.m., our digital twin in Unreal will match that real life shoot. And this was also very wide and expansive, so we could have multiple vehicles driving. That's something we did later. And also, when we did this, a lot of the trucks were not finalized. So out of the whole range that they have, they could only send a few. So the plan was always to go back in the future and add them in digitally. So we went a few days before, when everything was nice and smooth, before the trucks ripped up all of that nice dry lake bed. And we filmed from before the sun came up to midday. And that just meant that the HDRI that we captured in Unreal would match everything, like I said. We also shot very, very, very high resolution backplate domes to use as a backdrop later for CGI in Unreal, especially in render on demand. When we have fixed views, we can always just focus on a certain part of the dome. And then lastly, I was taking a lot of samples, cracks in the desert, dry grass, brushes. I scan a lot on my phone, and what I can't capture, then I'll do on a camera. And then back at the office, we'll use Substance to recreate these in Unreal. And we'll see how it all comes together later, but here's just a look at what that environment translates to in Unreal. And this is running live just on a single machine. And we produce these images for the configurator in a fraction of a second. And we're very close to what the actual product photography is in that location. And a big part, of course, with any digital twin is the extreme fidelity we need to put into materials. And we have a really fantastic team working on that. We work really close with the clients to scan, to recreate. And one of the really good things about Unreal is just how quick we can do it. One of my colleagues here will remember when we were getting very close to finish this project with Volvo. They'd started using Unreal themselves in North Carolina, where their office is. And they understood the benefits. So their CMF team flew over to Gothenburg, and we could all sit side by side on a whole bank of computers. And we spent about a week just honing in that last 5%. And that's something that we probably never have done previously. There's just no way to do it in a good time frame. And they were super happy with the results that we could pull out of Unreal. And I think this was one of our first projects that we did, where we were pretty much at the same quality as what we were doing in V-Ray or Arnold. And you can't really see so well on the projector, but even for extreme close-ups for CMF, I think it was an amazing job. And here's just another example. Mostly with our digital twin using Substance, our materials can be used between different software. And then for shaders, we typically do things specific in Unreal. And then we bring everything together for a fully configurable experience running in real time. And I think this is a bit compressed in my presentation, but the original one of this is a 12K still, a TIFF file that they use for print in all of their brochures out of Unreal. So we're also doing print quality Lumen rendered content now. And as you can see, just amazing qualities on the materials. And performance is really important for us. So we have our own platform that we run, everything live. So we did look at streaming originally. And what we tend to do is that every experience we make for a customer is streaming ready. But when it comes to the configurator, we usually deploy only as render on demand. And that gives us a little bit better quality. It's a lot cheaper. But for the streaming version, we will use that at things like dealerships, exhibitions, and just being able to turn it on and off is very important. But then here's just a quick look of the configurator working on the web on our OneCX platform. And here as well, when a customer makes a configuration change in the front end, it also renders a lot of unique interior stills and exteriors for them. And at the end, they can get a brochure made into a PDF and sent to them. And because it's so flexible working in Unreal, when there's a facelift or a new vehicle or a new environment, we can just send the team out and quickly do it again. So this was maybe a year ago. Volvo made some changes to the truck, and we sent the team to Miami, and we did a digital twin of the environment in front of the Miami basketball arena, and managed to put the truck in there and match all of the photography. And now with render on demand, I think for this truck, there's maybe 500,000 different combinations. And I think the quality difference, if you think back to the truck that we did in Unreal Engine 4 only 3 years ago to what we get now, It's completely amazing. And again, with the digital twin, it's not just about the configurator, but also being able to create really high quality assets. Trucks are massive and it's really hard to get them around, especially to some of the places where customers want to shoot. And often when we're doing this stuff, you know, the vehicle's secret and it's hard to kind of sneak something like this through Miami to a warehouse. So often we're shooting in real life and then just reinserting the vehicle in. And I'd say we're at the point now where there's no real difference between photography and what we see. And I spoke to Volvo just before I came here and asked, you know, what I could talk about. And I think they had some fantastic numbers and metrics from the launch. So when they went from the layer-based configurator to real-time, just in the first 6 weeks, they saw a 991% increase in usage, which is amazing. And we also built a system that once you'd finished your configuration, if you wanted, you could fill in the form about what type of truck you wanted, and you could send it to a dealer, and you would go there and meet them. And they had 950 leads sent through to dealers to meet and talk about point of sale. So moving the whole production to Unreal was a big game changer for their sales team. And their sales team at Volvo now use the configurator in the dealership to spec things with customers. And we also found from the analytics that the average time spent on the configurator was 12 minutes compared to just 1 minute for the Volvo.com. And that's a huge metric for us to have. And I think it just shows the power of having something as interactive and interesting as this. And we've kept innovating. Just a few weeks ago, we launched the new configurator for Mack. And here we've added even more features. So you can pick any color you want on demand, and it will create animations and content for you. We also have the ability to add decals. Truck drivers love to customize their stuff. And even though it sounds really simple, just being able to add on the branding, if it's Post America or FedEx or, you know, a more local company, it's a really powerful selling tool. And we have another function for dealers where we can do a full complete wrap of the truck in real time. And everything that you see is powered by Unreal. So when you make a choice inside the configurator, we're generating all of that collateral and extra content. And when you finish, you will get that in a pack. And now we've moved far beyond the configurator when it comes to the digital twin and Unreal. And Unreal for us now is powering everything. It's powering print. We're working with the training schools at Mack and Volvo on training new drivers. We have AR apps. We have things for engineers. We have virtual production. We have launches and exhibitions, all just from one model that just splits out to different paths. And again, going on location, taking real footage, putting the digital trucks in, where photography is just not possible. And yeah, very important, with these new vehicles, especially with new platforms, just working with the customer when it comes to engineering and verification. And as of just a few weeks ago, we now have every Volvo truck running in Unreal Engine. Some of them alone with 10 or 20,000 different combinations. I asked the team if they could give me a number so I could put it in and sound clever, and it came into the basically hundreds of billions. So I've kept a believable 1 billion, but it's a lot. And yeah, so in a very short space of time, from even just less than 5 years ago, going from a completely layer-based system to having a huge automotive company with many brands and so many products, all digitized in Unreal in only 5 years. And I'm really excited now, especially with the updates to the engine, what we're going to see in the next couple of years and how we can really push it, especially when it comes to things like virtual production and movie making. And yeah, that's my talk for today.
I managed to break the build because of one of the Gauntlet test controllers in AP.